Hi, my name is CJ Leung and welcome to the second How to Play Dungeons & Dragons video. This time we are going to have a look at player characters' abilities and skills, and for this we will use Serio to demonstrate our point. Thanks for being optimistic, Serio, you will do just fine. By the way, if you'd like to have Serio's character sheet with you while following along, you can find it in the description below. Download it, print it, or open it in another browser window, it's up to you. I will also display the character sheet on screen, so you wouldn't miss anything even without it. First thing first, so that you don't get confused, let me clarify that when I say you, it means both you and the character you're playing, which in this case is Serio. As I've mentioned in an earlier video, if you want to overcome a challenge in Dungeons & Dragons, you roll the 20-sided die, or D20. Let's say that one day you are traveling through a forest and you notice that there is a large pit rock in front of you. Not wanting to waste time going around it, you tell the Dungeon Master that you are just going to jump over it. The Dungeon Master tells you that the difficulty class of that action is 14, so what you need to do to successfully jump over the pit is to roll a d20 and add your relevant bonuses and get a total result of 14 or over. The ability related to jumping is your strength, so you get to add your strength modifier to your roll. But wait, you have a skill relevant to the challenge, and that is your athletics. Instead of 3 points of bonus from your raw strength, you get to use the 5 points bonus from your athletics. So, to overcome any challenge, determine the relevant ability, then the relevant skill. You want to find the relevant skill because if you are proficient in it, the bonus will always be better than your raw ability modifier. Usually, finding out which skill is relevant is easy because your DM will usually just tell you. I would say, yes, you can try to jump over the pit, roll with your strength or athletics. Now that we have the general idea of how to overcome challenges, let's have a look at the character sheet. In D&D, characters are represented by 6 main abilities: Strength, Dexterity, Constitution, Intelligence, Wisdom, and Charisma. An attribute score of 10 or 11 is the average for a commoner. Generally, players' ability scores range between 1 to 20 points, and personally, I'd like to think of it in terms of normal distribution. So having 16 points in strength is pretty high up there, and it means that Serio is much stronger than the general population. But the important bit is the number here. This is the modifier. It represents how much significant difference your attribute gives you. For every 2 full score points above 10, you receive a modifier bonus. This is why Serio has +3 modifier bonus. This is also the number you use for most of your ability checks. However, if you have ability score under 10, you would have modifier penalty. Without having to rely on a chart, you can use this formula. Ability score subtracted by 10, divided by 2 and rounded down. As general rule, every calculation in D&D is rounded down, unless stated otherwise in the paragraph. By the way, sorry for the impromptu maths. This is the only complex math we are going to do for the series, I promise. Now that we have calculated the modifier, we can use them to start populating the skills column. Just next to the alphabetized skill column, you can see the attribute it's associated with in parentheses. So, you can just bring the modifier across to the relevant skill. Serio has +2 in dexterity, so his acrobatics, sleight of hands, and stealth skills receive +2 bonus. His intelligence and charisma modifiers are 0, which means he receives no bonus or penalty for the associated skills. But now here comes the interesting part. There is a filled circle next to his athletic skill. That means he is proficient in that skill. His proficiency could come from his class, race, or background. Either way, it means that he doesn't just bring across his modifier, he also gets proficiency bonus from his skill. Serio is a level 1 character and his proficiency bonus at that level is +2. So that means he gets to add 2 points to the skills he is proficient in. 3 + 2, so that means he has a total of +5 bonus to his athletics. He also has proficiency in animal handling, perception, and survival. The combination of his wisdom modifier and proficiency gives him 4 points bonus to those skills, but he only gets 2 points bonus for other wisdom related skills, which practically makes them the same as his wisdom modifier. Now that we have got an idea of how the ability score, modifier, and skills are related to your character, we can start using them to make ability checks. Earlier, we saw Serio making a standing jump over a pit. To do so in the game, you just tell the dungeon master what you want to do. I am late for my rendezvous with my party members. I want to jump over that pit to save time. Then the DM will ask you to make an ability check with a relevant ability or skill if your character has it. In this case, it is strength or athletics. So you roll a 20-sided dice and add the relevant bonus. You roll a 9 plus Serio's athletics skill bonus, your total result is 14. The difficulty of the task is represented by a difficulty class number or DC. You need to match it or get higher result to succeed. Sometimes the task is a contest, like how Serio is trying to shove this orc into the pit. To accomplish this task, he needs to roll higher than the orc. Getting a lower result obviously means that you fail. But when you both get the same result, it becomes a stalemate and the current situation is maintained. So the orc is still standing by the ledge, but not for long. Sometimes, certain conditions can assist or hinder you. This is where the advantage and disadvantage mechanics come in. If a certain circumstance aids your completion of a task, such as there being a trampoline just next to the pit, you get advantage to your roll, which means that you get to roll a second d20 die and you can pick the best result. Conversely, having disadvantage, like if you are being distracted by a weirdo, it means you get to roll your 2d20 dice and you have to use the worst result. Advantages and disadvantages counteract each other. When advantageous and disadvantageous circumstances exist, you revert the roll to a single die roll. To keep the game simple, the designers have decided that advantageous and disadvantageous circumstances don't stack. So in the presence of both circumstances, you will just roll a single d20 die. This rule is a major time saver. Personally, I like it. It saves me heaps of time arguing. One more thing about dice rolls. You often see memes or people on online forums talking about rolling a natural 20 and getting a critical success, letting you accomplish anything, even the impossible, and rolling a natural 1, making you fumble and fail so miserably. I have to tell you something. Those are not part of the official rules. Critical rolls only apply to attack rolls in combat, but many groups use this unofficial rule because it's absolutely ridiculous and can often be completely hilarious at the same time. But don't be surprised if some DMs doesn't use this rule. In a well-balanced party, certain characters usually have better bonuses on certain skills and abilities to cover for others' weaknesses. In this case, you can work together to give the character with the highest bonus an advantage in completing her task. Working together needs to make sense. Trying to hear a pin drop doesn't get easier with the help of more listeners. In that situation, everyone have to roll individually. Also, the character helping need to be able to attempt the task alone too. For example, Leraline won't be able to help Winnie open a lock because she doesn't have proficiency in Thieves' Tools. Different skills aid you in accomplishing different tasks, and you can use them when they are relevant to what you are trying to accomplish. As you would have realized when we were filling in the skills column, each skills are associated to specific abilities. So it gives us a clue as to what those skills do. For example, you can use athletics when you want to do physical activities such as running, jumping, or swimming. But you can't use it if you want to break a quarterstaff with your head. In this case, you only get to use your strength modifier. There is no sport in this or any fantasy world that involves breaking a stick with your head, so you can't use your athletics skill. Next, I will summarize the rest of the abilities and skills and their relevant tasks. I will keep it brief, but it is still going to take a bit, so bear with me. Dexterity means nimbleness, agility, and skill in using one's hands and body. So the related abilities are acrobatics, sleight of hand, and stealth. You can use acrobatics if you want to do a somersault, walk on a rope, land on your feet, or other related tasks. Sleight of hand is when you want to do manual trickery, such as pickpocketing and slipping a hidden card into your hand. Stealth is when you want to conceal yourself from your enemies or sneak past sentries. You can also make other dexterity checks unrelated to existing skills, such as steering a wagon around a tight corner or picking a lock. While you can't use your standard skills to accomplish those tasks, there are other proficiencies that can help you. For example, Serio here has land vehicle proficiency, so he can add proficiency to his ability check to control the wagon. There are no skill related to constitution, it is an ability related to your health, stamina, and vital force. You use it when you want to go without sleep, survive without food or water, hold your breath, or chug a ton of ale in one go. Besides that, it affects your maximum hit points. We will talk about this in the character creation episode, so stay tuned. Intelligence is related to your level of knowledge and your ability for logical reasoning. Arcana, history, nature, and religion are related to your knowledge in the respective fields and your ability to recall them. For example, if you see a strange magical phenomenon, you would roll Arcana to try to recall whether you have heard or come across it before. History, when trying to remember lore or ancient kingdoms and famous people. Nature, when you want to recall relevant knowledge of flora and fauna, terrain, weather, or natural cycles. Religion, when trying to remember rites, prayers, deities, or religious symbols. Unlike the other intelligence-based skills, investigation lets you look around for clues, find secret doors, or even do amateur forensics, such as determining the cause of a wound. Other tasks related to intelligence checks, but not limited to what was mentioned, are appraising the worth of an item, forging a document, and remembering other lores and trivias. Unlike previous editions, in 5th edition, there is no restriction that prevents those untrained in knowledge skills to attempt to roll. The idea here is not to penalize the player too much for not having the right group composition. If you succeed, let's just say that your character heard it somewhere in a tavern before. Your wisdom reflects how intuitive and attuned to the world you are. It covers a lot of disparate skills which can at times seem unconnected, but it is a very useful ability to have when adventuring. Animal handling lets you calm down a domestic animal, mount, or to tame beasts. Insight lets you discern a person's intention, to get a good grasp of their psyche, and even to defend against deceit. Medicine lets you diagnose illness and stabilize a dying companion. Perception lets you use your senses to see objects that are far away, hear the sound of a skulking goblin, or smell the hint of poisonous gas from a safe distance. Perception is often confused with investigation. To remember the difference, just remind yourself that perception does not involve processing too much information. You just perceive. Related to this skill is passive perception. The number is 10 plus your perception skill bonus or penalty. This represents what the character can sense when not paying attention. Enemies also have passive perception. This is what you roll against when you want to hide from or sneak past enemies. Survival is used to track, hunt, and detect natural hazards. Just imagine what a scout or a hunter would do with his survival skills. Of course, there are other wisdom checks you can do that's not related to your skills, such as listening to your gut feeling, but the existing skills cover a lot of areas already. Last but not least is Charisma. It is a ridiculous ability that's very abusable. It represents your charm, eloquence, and personality. The related skill, Deception, is self-explanatory, lies and bluffs. Intimidation can be used to scare someone away or threaten him to divulge information. Performance is a bit abstract. Whether through dancing, acting, storytelling, or other means, you use it to entertain your audience. With Persuasion, you attempt to change somebody's or a group of people's mind. This is different to Deception because you are generally acting in good faith. Unrelated to your existing skills, you can find the best person to talk to for news, rumors, and gossips, or blend into crowds to get a sense of key topics of conversation. Well, that's pretty much most of what you need to know about ability scores and checks. As new players, some people are overly eager to roll their dice. I often told them, no, you don't have to roll a dice to just speak to a peasant, or to open an unlocked door, or to scratch their bums, or to breathe. Just interact with the narrative naturally, as if you're a character who's living and breathing in the world. Your DM will ask you to roll when it's necessary. The next video will be about combat. Stay tuned for that one because it constitutes a large chunk of D&D's gameplay. By the way, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you want to be notified of future releases, and comment below to tell me what else you would like to see covered. So until next time, CJ over and out.